Look at this tan, y'all. She looking like a little chocolate drop child. Mm, mm, mm. Y'all. So if you read the title of today's video, you probably already know what we're going to talk about, right? Right. We're going to talk about CoolSculpting. I had it done in 2016. I know it's 2023, so why am I talking about it now? Well, I told y'all I had to test some theories, right? So, when I initially went for the consultation for CoolSculpting, the biggest sell on having this procedure done is that it is compared to liposuction. Like the non-invasive CoolSculpting is compared to the invasive liposuction, whereas the treated area, when you treat it and removes the fat ain't coming back. It's like a permanent removal of fat. I didn't believe that because y'all compared it to liposuction. And I knew a girl who got liposuction, and after she got liposuction, she got big again. So yeah, I didn't believe none of what they were saying. I thought it was cap. But in 2020, during the pandemic, I gained a whole lot of weight. I gaining 30 pounds. Like if you've been following my discussions when I talk about the non-invasive procedures that I gotten, in the video where I talk about face tag, in that video I told y'all I gained 30 pounds. I was 170, and that's the most weight that I've gained in my entire life. That's the most I've weighed in my entire life. So being 2020 was after I had the procedure done in 2016, the theory kind of got tested because at that weight, there was no fat regeneration in the area that got treated. So yeah, it basically was proven that when CoolSculpting said it permanently removes the fat cells and ain't gonna come back no more. Yeah, that theory got tested and proven. So I gained the weight, lost the weight. So now in 2023, I feel like I can come back and tell y'all, yeah, CoolSculpting really says or does what it says it's gonna do. And I got pictures to prove, me at the 170 weight. I'm gonna insert that later on in the video. Y'all get to see that. But yeah, that's why I'm talking about it in 2023, right? But before we even get into what CoolSculpting is and my experience with it, I kind of want to give you a backstory on why I even had it done in the first place, right? Simply put, it was because, I saw myself more. I saw myself for what I really was. And I like what I saw, y'all. At that time, right? I was an employee working for someone at that time. And also at that time, I was making the most money that I have made, thus far at that time. So with the increase in finances, right, the wardrobe game stepped up a little bit. And because I didn't have to work as many hours, the social calendar became free. So I became a little bit more social. And in those social settings, pictures were being taken of me, and I get to see them, and I didn't like how I looked in them. Yeah, I didn't like what I saw. So, my homegirls was like, girl, put on some Spanx. And I feel like I wasn't in the weight class to wear Spanx because I was 129, 130 at the time. Yeah, I didn't feel like I wanted to cover it up. I kind of wanted to get rid of the fat, because it was given muffin top, a little bit of fupa in the area. And granted, because I was in the 129s, 130, it wasn't a huge deal. But to me, I saw it, I didn't like it, I wanted to change it. So I opted to do exercises. I ain't know nothing about no exercise. I don't be doing it, so I didn't know what I've been doing. I didn't know I had to do cardio because I gotta raise the heart rate in order to burn the fat. I didn't know nothing about that. I was eating whatever I wanted to eat, but the only thing that I changed in my diet was protein because, I heard a little chatter about, when you're doing exercises, you're supposed to increase the protein. So yeah, I did that. But instead of doing cardio, because I had no better, I started doing the strengthening and muscle building exercises. Granted, child, I did see some results, the legs got sculpted, and toned. That booty was pow, it was sitting up, you know what I'm saying? And even the abs was, developing and sculpting. The fupa did kind of go away, and the muffin top, was being tamed. And yeah, abs were developing. But one thing that I did notice that I didn't like, you know, when the bodybuilders like sculpt their abs, you know, when you look at their waist from the side, their waist is like really thin. Mine started to like widen, and it was unattractively widen, and I didn't like how that looked. So yeah, I got discouraged and I stopped doing it. So some time had passed, and I was home and I was watching a reality TV show. Now, it wasn't a reality TV show talking about like medical procedures or cosmetic procedures. It wasn't that. There was a scene where there were two friends. One friend was actually getting CoolSculpting done, and the other friend was like, girl, what are you doing and why are you doing it? So the girl who was getting the procedure was like, girl, I'm getting CoolSculpting because, you know, I got some stubborn fat I need to remove. So the light bulb came on to me. You know, I got me some stubborn fat that I want to remove. Like, what is this CoolSculpting? So I looked it up and I found a doctor in my area. So, you know, I scheduled the consultation. Now, arriving to the consultation, the biggest sale again is, yeah, it permanently removes the fat cells. You ain't gonna come back no more. I believe it because y'all compared it to liposuction again. I thought it was cap, right? So you gotta sell me on something else. So what sold me on even getting the procedure done was the before and after pics. It was of both men and women. The before pics, of course, is before the procedure, how they look before the procedure. And then the after pics was like a year later. And the drastic change, I like what I saw. So even though at the time I didn't believe like it was permanent, I thought maybe you would have to come back for some upkeep like some years later, because I'm still not thinking it's permanent, right? So yeah, the picture sold me, and what also sold me, child, was the fact that I was getting multiple areas treated. I got my lower abdominals and I got my oblique area treated. So when you're doing like multiple areas, now I don't know if that was a special that they were doing at the time or if that was something they do all the time, but she was like, girl, we about to knock some money off, you know, these treatments because you get multiple areas done. So I was like, girl, save me a shiny coin or two or three, you know what I'm saying? Sign me up. And she did, and I scheduled the appointment, and yeah, that's what we about to get into. We're gonna talk about what CoolSculpting is, and then we're gonna talk about my experience at the appointment. Yeah, let's get into it. CoolSculpting, to me, in my own words, is basically the use of cryotherapy to target stubborn fat areas by freezing the fat cells. Your body naturally gets rid of it, and it doesn't come back no more after it's been done. Yeah. So that's how I would describe it in my own words. Y'all can go look up the medical terminology yourself for CoolSculpting, but in layman's terms, you freeze the fat, it melts away, it going bye-bye, ain't coming back no more, bam. That's what it is, okay? So, the appointment, okay? So I arrived to the appointment the day of, took them a little intake, and after the intake process, they took me into a room where I derobed, took off my clothes, and they took before pictures. After the before pictures were taken, then I was taken into another room where the procedure is being performed, right? In this room, you got the CoolSculpting machine with the double applicators, the dual applicators. There's a chair, bed, table, some kind of snuggly goodness with a blanket. There is a smorgasbord, like in my room, child. There was a smorgasbord of fat. Like every fattening item that you can think of in the form of liquid or solid was in that room for me to partake in, okay? Did I partake? Hell yeah. After all this money I was spending, y'all gonna give me something for free. Yeah, I want this, that. Yes, I did partake. Yes, she sure did. I had a TV with a remote control. I could look at like TV shows. I could listen to music. I could do all of that. Now, I was getting my lower abdominals done and my obliques, right? Now, the time frame for the procedure is basically dependent upon the area that's being worked. So you could be in for a 35-minute session or you could be in for a 75-minute session. For me, my treated areas were an hour apiece. So I got an hour for my lower abdominal area and I got an hour for my oblique area. So I was in there for a total of 2 hours total. Now, let's talk about the application of the applicators, child, because listen, I had secretly, low-key, had a problem with how she applied my applicators. And what I mean by secret is I ain't say nothing right. And I ain't say nothing because I just had found out about CoolSculpting the other day, right? So it's new to me. But she had been know about CoolSculpting, been doing it longer, so she probably had no better. So I ain't had say nothing, but I had really low-key had a problem with how she applied the applicators initially. So she applied the applicators to my lower abdominals because that was being worked on first. She applied the applicators more diagonal. I thought it would have been applied more horizontally. But I am so glad she applied it diagonally, and I'm going to get into that a little later, child. I'm going to talk all about it, okay? So yeah, the applicators of the, the application of the applicators got applied diagonally. And again, I was in there for an hour. So throughout the hour, she came in and periodically checked on me because once you're attached to the machine, you can't get up, you can't move around, you can't really do nothing but sit there, look at TV, listen to music, and eat, your fat goodness. So yeah, I was chilling. She came in and checked on me after the hour. But let me back up. When applicators are applied, did I feel coldness or the cold feeling or cold sensation? I personally didn't, because that was the purpose of the blanket, just in case I got cold, but I really didn't. I didn't feel like I was being frozen, but your experience may be different. I didn't feel it at all. So after the applications are removed, the process is done, the hour, is up. She came in, she removed it. Now, the area is red, so be prepared. And the area also, it has taken the shape of the applicator. So it comes out basically looking solid. It's not frozen, but it's the form of the applicators. And what needs to take place at this time, or what did happen, is she went in and manipulated the tissue area. So she gave it a thorough massage. So let me explain how important that is, okay? So if you've been following my videos, I kind of briefly touch on what it is that I do for a living. Like, I'm 100% self-employed. I have multiple licenses, and one of my licenses that I utilize for income is a neuromuscular therapy license. And what that is basically a form of massage therapy, but more on the medical and clinical side of that, right? So I had a client come in one day after he had CoolSculpting done to his lower abdominal area. And he really wanted me to get in there and manipulate the tissue because he had been left with hardness. They were pebbles and boulderish underneath his skin. So he had hardness in the areas because whoever did his application didn't go in there and thoroughly massage and manipulate the tissue afterwards. So he actually had frozen nodules underneath his skin. And you could visually see it too. So whoever does your situation, make sure that after they remove the applicator, they go in there and really massage and manipulate the tissue. Because for one, the manipulation, the friction in it creates heat, so it kind of melts the area. And also you're actually breaking up the frozenness, so you're not left with lumps afterwards, right? Also, what I did notice when I treated him is I could tell that his applicators got applied horizontally. I told y'all I had secretly had an issue, so I'm so glad that, she applied mine diagonally. But you could actually tell because he had a visible, unsightly, it was ugly, line of demarcation. So you could really see the difference between his upper abdominals and his lower abdominals. They were kind of folded over the lower abdomen. It was ugly, child. So yeah. 2 takeaways from this is, for one, have your applicators applied diagonally, and make sure when the treatment session is ended, they really get in there and manipulate the tissue area. And you can even do it at home because I did it as well, but she really spent time after she removed my applicators really massaging the areas, and I didn't have any lumps or anything, because that could happen if you don't get it massaged thoroughly after the session. Okay, so now we at the oblique area. Again, the applicators were applied diagonally. So it kind of like hit the oblique area, but it kind of feathered to my lower abdominal. So it was kind of like diagonal as well there. And same process, same hour, came in, removed it, it's redness, takes the form of the applicators. Massage took place. Now, after the full 2 hours, and I got dressed or whatever, I could be back to my regularly scheduled program. Like, there's nothing that you can't do after you have this procedure done. There's no pain, there's no discomfort, there is nothing. The only thing that they recommend you do get is some compression garments. So I did have to go buy Spanx, so I did get to wear Spanx after all. It kind of helps with the healing process. I think I had to wear mine for a week. But yeah, I had no issues, no complications. Again, during my downtime, I still manipulated the area because you're still cold to the touch for a good maybe 72 hours afterwards. And you can still go in there and manipulate the area just to make sure that if you feel any lumps, you kind of get it out. But I didn't feel any lumps, but I just still did it because they say you can. And yeah, I had like great results. Now, let's just take a pause for the cause, child, so I can insert these photos. So y'all heard me say that they took before photos before I even had the procedure done. Well, a month after I came in and I took a progress photo in May. So the first time I got it was April 26th. I think that's the date of the appointment, the initial appointment. Then I came in a month later in May and I took my 1 month photo. And then I came in June and I took my 2 month photos. Now, to see your full results, they say 3 months. So when I took the last set of photos, it wasn't quite the 3 month mark. And based upon my experience, I think you can see your results further along, like up to 6 months after having the procedure done. And we'll talk about that later. But let me just insert these photos, y'all. We'll look at that and we'll come back and talk, okay? Okay. So just to recap what you saw, April 26th was actually the before pictures, before, the day of the appointment, when they escorted me in that room before the procedure was done. That's the before pictures. The May 25th, of course, is the month after. That's the progress photo a month after. And then the June 21st is the progress photo 2 months after the procedure. They say that you will see your full results in 3 months. So my 3 month mark would have been July. Also, when I was doing the research on CoolSculpting, they did say that you may have to do multiple sessions to achieve your desired look based upon the amount of fat that's in the area. So at the end of July, I saw that there was progress, but I felt like there could be more progress made. So I opted to schedule a second session in August. So the pictures you're about to see now is the second session. You'll see the initial date before we did the second session in August, and then you'll see the progress photos a month and 2 months after the second session. So look at those and then we'll come back and talk, okay? Okay. So just to recap what you just saw again, August 16th is the day of the procedure, but the picture you saw was before we actually started the second session, okay? The September 13th is the month after the second session, and October 11th is 2 months after the second session, okay? So November would have been the 3-month mark after the second session when they say you're supposed to see your full results. However, I felt like I saw the best results at the top of 2017. And the reason why I feel that way is because during the whole procedure and even after I ended the second session, I didn't alter my diet at all. I still was eating whatever I wanted. I wasn't exercising, and my weight maintained the same, but in the treated area. Beyond November 2016, I still got thinner in the area. My body was still being sculpted, you know. So I felt like, even though they say 3 months, for me, I saw the potential of the, fullest results was at the top of 2017. So that's why I kind of felt like, yeah, it's beyond the 3-month mark. At least it was for me. So yeah. And I also felt like, had I known after the first session that it probably would take longer for me to see the results, I may not have done the second session. But I'm glad I did, because, whatever was missed the first session by, whatever fat remained after the first session, it definitely got, targeted the second session. So overall, I'm happy with the results. Now what I'm about to show you so you can see clearly is the April 26 photos, the before photos before any CoolSculpting at all, the day of the appointment. And then I'm gonna show you the last photographs that we took, which is the second month after the second session. So you can kind of see for yourself the before and basically the after, okay? So y'all check that out and then we're gonna come back and talk, okay? Okay. throughout this video, y'all probably can guess that I didn't have a relationship with diet and exercise prior to me getting CoolSculpting, and I didn't. My metabolism rate was so high, I could eat any and everything that I want and not really gain any weight. It would just show up itself in, you know, those stubborn areas, which was in my abdominal cavity, you know. But as far as gaining weight, I had a high metabolism. That never was an issue, or so there really wasn't a need for diet and exercise. So after having CoolSculpting done, I was still under the mindset that this is not permanent, even though they say it's permanent. I'm still under the guise, girl, you need to protect your investment, because as the years went on, I started to see that my metabolism was slowing down. I mean, I'm getting older, and it would show on my body in certain ways, not necessarily in the area that was treated, but on my thighs specifically. Like there would be a silver dollar patch of cellulite that sat on the outside of my thighs, and I was like, okay, so I'm starting to gain weight now, my metabolism getting slower, I'm getting older, so I need to protect my investment, because I don't spend all these coins and getting this stuff done. I still thinking that, you know, this isn't permanent, so girl, protect the investment, you need to make some dietary changes. So that's what I did. First, I kind of got an understanding of how my body responds to certain foods that I eat. So once I kind of figured that out, I knew what to eliminate. So the things that I started to eliminate in my diet was carbs. Listen, I ain't one of them people talk about, oh, I on a no carb diet. No, because carbs are in anything. Carbs are in ketchup, chap. Carbs are in beans, carbs are in vegetables, so I would never come on in and talk about, oh, she on a no carb diet. No, that's not me. But let me specify what carbs that I did take out of my diet. Like, I don't do bread of any kind. No white, no wheat, no honey wheat. I don't do biscuits. I don't do hamburger buns, hot dog buns, baked goods, all that deliciousness, sweets, cakes, muffins, donuts, things of that nature. I don't partake in. Any kind of desserts, milkshakes, or ice cream, things of that nature, I stay away from. Pastas. I don't partake in any kind of like noodle form, any lasagna, macaroni, spaghetti. I stay away from those items as well. White rice. It showed up in my body awful. Like, I don't do white rice no more. Now, I first tried brown rice. Brown rice is too difficult for me to like maneuver. It takes too long to cook, and then the flavor of it, it takes too much just to put some flavor in the brown rice. So I do parboiled rice now. Yeah, as far as meats that I partake in, high on the list is seafood. For one, I am, you know, iron deficient, so having iron intake, a lot of shellfish contains, you know, the iron that I need, so I partake in a whole lot of seafood for that reason. I do fish, crab, lobster, clams, oysters, because for one, it's my favorite, and two, it is a good source of iron, which I need in my diet, right? Underneath seafood is ground beef. I'm not a beef person. I don't do steaks and all of that, but ground beef I definitely would partake in. Pork. Listen, I don't care how fattening Porky Pig is, veggie bacon. I don't care. Listen, me and Porky Pig got a relationship. Porky Pig is never going anywhere in my life. Like, child, I will high interval train off some Porky Pig. Listen, so me and Bacon, we got to understand it. We got a relationship. He love me, I love it. Ain't going nowhere, okay? So yeah, I don't want to hear nothing about, girl, you still eat bacon. You know how fattening bacon is. So bacon is gonna stay. Bacon, yeah. Bacon is I am Bacon. We is one. Listen, we married. We tethered. Okay. So what other porks that I partake in? Occasionally ham, and spare ribs. Y'all done saw me bust down some bones a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I partake in spare ribs. And last underneath that list is like chicken. Like, I know chicken is a good source of protein, but I don't really like big chicken at all. Fried chicken is what I like, so that will be more of a cheat day type of thing. Yeah, but that won't be a part of my regular diet, so that's why it's so low on the list. yeah, I do green leafy vegetables like greens, cabbage, because again, they're a good source of iron as well. But yeah, and eggs and yeah, stuff of that nature. Um, Exercise. Like, ain't nobody been getting into that. But you know, as I started making dietary changes, I had to figure out, you know, a cardio alternative because I know it takes the increase in heart rate to actually burn fat. I'm not a runner and I don't do treadmills. I get shin splints, like they hurt. So I don't do that. So I had to find a workout regimen to whereas I could still increase heart rate but yet build muscle at the same time. So I do a whole lot of high interval training, and sometimes it's usually just the use of my body weight, and other times I use a small pound dumbbell because I'm not really trying to become muscular. I just want to stay toned. So all of this went into practice after I realized my metabolism was slowing down and after getting CoolSculpting, because still I'm under the guise that this isn't permanent and I'm trying to protect my investment. Well, lo and behold, 2020 happened and the pandemic, you know, hit. And we just sitting around like not doing nothing, can't go nowhere, can't do nothing, just look at TV and stuff your face. So my diet, you know, kind of went to the side, and of course I gained all this weight. So 170 pounds worth of weight, right? So what I'm about to show y'all is me at my pandemic weight. And then after that, I'm gonna plug in a video after I lost the weight and was back on my diet and workout regimen. And then yeah, we're gonna kind of like wrap this up. So y'all go look at that and then I'm gonna be back, okay? Okay. So this is pandemic me. This is me at 170 pounds. And as you can see from the lower abdominal and oblique area, the fat is not back, okay? And this is me flexing for the gram after a workout, after losing my pandemic me weight. This is me back on my diet and workout regimen. Yeah, this is posted to my Instagram, so go ahead and follow me if you guys haven't. And for those who have, thank you, child. Thank you. So I think I basically covered everything. Like, I showed you before and after pics. I show you progression pics. I show you pandemic me. I show you post-pandemic me after I lost all the weight. I discussed the procedure and my experience with it. I kind of like gave you some suggestions and key points on things to look out for to make sure that happens during your session. I discussed aftercare. I discussed diet and exercise. I'm just trying to run through my mind to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and so far I don't think I am. So I think I pretty much covered everything. Like, yeah, I did. But let me go ahead and say this. I get hit in the DMs a whole lot after these types of discussions, with people wanting to know what practice I went to, what doctor I saw, and even how much I paid for procedures. Let me just say the intention behind these videos is basically to discuss the procedure. It is not really intended to market or promote said doctor or said doctor's practice, right? The intentions behind me sharing my experience is basically to let you know whether or not I feel like after receiving said procedure, whether or not it's worth the investment or not. And share that information for those people who are considering having the procedure done but really want to know more about it, or more people who have had experiences with the procedure. So it's not to market or promote a doctor's office, because all of these procedures I paid out of pocket myself, right? Unless the intention of these videos is to collab, to market, or promote, then a doctor or a doctor's practice won't be discussed. As far as price goes, again, the intention behind the video is basically to relay to you whether or not it's worth the investment, whatever amount that is, okay? All of these videos or all of these procedures that I got are investments monetarily. The purpose also is just to let you know whether or not it's worth the investment, not to specifically let you know how much I paid for a procedure, because that changes. Like what I paid in 2016 probably definitely ain't gonna be how much it is now. So me relaying that information to you is not really or relevant to the message that I'm trying to share when it comes to these videos. But sharing with you whether or not it's worth investing in is more of what I intend to do and to relate to you when it comes to these videos. But what I would share and what I have been sharing is the source of, because I put legwork, a lot of legwork at time, and to get an understanding about a doctor, about a procedure, and the source of me coming to a conclusion on who I go to and whatnot basically comes from the website realself.com. Y'all hear me plug that in just about every video. realself.com. That is like my holy grail. That is the source that I run to when, okay, this procedure, what about it? Who's offering it here? Because on that website, you can actually find doctors board certified. You will see their certifications. You can see how they're ranked, how they're reviewed, their specialties. All of that falls under, the research of realself.com. Also, depending upon your location, if you're interested in CoolSculpting and you live in Georgia, you can actually go there and say, CoolSculpting, I want to search for doctors in Georgia. They will show you doctors in Georgia. Not only that, they will show you reviews from patients who receive services in your areas. They will talk about price. Some of them post price range. They pay between this and that. Some people will actually post an actual price on how much they paid for a certain service. They will tell you their experience with the doctor, tell you who they went to. They will post pictures also. Also, under procedures, any procedures you search for, there's usually a discussion amongst patients as well as doctors when it comes to a certain type of procedure. So if there's a question that you want to ask a professional, they do that on that website as well. So you can get information from the source, the physician, the professional, before you, make a decision. So that's usually where I go to when it comes to investigating a procedure, when it comes to investigating a doctor. Realself.com is my holy grail. It is the source, and that's why I talk about it a whole lot. So I am comfortable in sharing that information with you so you can go do the legwork, the investigation, to find out what works best for you. Because even though I may have had a good experience with this said practice, this said doctor, it probably was that way because maybe I don't require certain things, and maybe when you experience the doctor, because your requirements are different from mine, maybe your experience may not be the same as mine. So that's another reason why I would never share a doctor. Now, if that ever happens, it's because that's the intention of the video. It is set up to be a marketing, promotion, collaboration type thing, and it will come across as such because there will be a paid promotion sign at the top of the video. But these videos, where I don't mention the names of doctors, practices, or even price, these are just me sharing my experiences with you, letting you know whether or not it is worth the investment, whether or not it's worth getting a procedure, and giving you some key points and things to look out for, okay? So yeah, I really do feel like now I've covered everything, but if by chance in this whole video that there's something that I omitted or a question that you have that I may not have answered during this discussion, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Please feel free to DM me like you guys have been doing. I definitely will hit you back, okay? So yeah. So do I feel like CoolSculpting is worth getting? Oh my God, hell to the yeah, yeah. Girl, you better go and get you a CoolSculpting. Girl, you better go and obliterate that fat, tell that fat hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. You tell the fat that, Jack. Okay? Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, hit it so you'll be notified of any videos that I post upcoming, because we got some stuff coming, okay? So I will see you guys on the next vlog, okay?